Welcome to Ksenia's Kitchen. I'm Ksenia and this is my kitchen. Today I'll be making a cauliflower cheese pie. It's my own recipe. It's something I created myself. Really simple, really easy, and I'm going to show you exactly how easy it is. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to steam the cauliflower, okay? Put a little water in your pot, and that should be enough. Right now what we're doing is removing the stem, and I'm just going to cut this, give it one cut right here in the middle to divide it, and I'm going to rinse it under cold water, okay? And now we're going to cut this into smaller pieces, but before we do that, you may have noticed that my cutting board was moving a little bit, and that can cause a problem. You don't want to cut yourself as you're cutting and dicing, etc. So I'm going to put this paper towel underneath my cutting board so my cutting board won't move around. And now I'm going to get rid of the stem here and just cut some of the flowerets off the stem. And then make them a little smaller, just with your hands. No big deal. You see how the flowerets will come apart just like that, and then you can always trim a little more of the stem and add that to your pot. Some, as I said, some of the flowerets just come off very nicely. Others you have to cut and break apart, make a little smaller. Put the lid on and take it over to your stove and put it on high, and we're going to let that steam. Okay, so we're going to grate at least half of this, okay? And that should be enough for our pie. So how did I come up with this recipe, this cauliflower cheese recipe? Well, when I was a little girl, the only way I ever had cauliflower, or the only way my mother ever made cauliflower, was cauliflower cheese. So she would boil the cauliflower and then make a cheese sauce and pour the cheese sauce over the cauliflower. And I really liked cauliflower that way. And then I grew up and I was on my own cooking, and I work full time. I don't have time to make a cheese sauce. You have to stand over the stove stirring, stirring, stirring. But I thought, cauliflower, I really like it with a cheese sauce. I've had it cold in salads as crudité, but my favorite really is with cheese. So I decided, I came upon this to, again, very simple, very easy. You're grating your cheese, and you're going to sprinkle the grated cheese on top of the cauliflower, the steamed cauliflower, okay? So I'm going to grate a little more here, and then we're going to turn our attention to the pie crust shell. In fact, what I'm going to do right now is go to the oven and turn the oven on. So that should get a little warm. We're going to 350. Now once all the preparation is done and we combine all the ingredients, it's only going to take around half an hour in the oven at 350. Okay, I'm going to stop now. I think we have enough. If not, I can always grate some more. I'm going to put this to the side, and I'm going to take a pan, okay? And I'm going to put aluminum foil on the pan because the pie crust is going to go on the pan. Now again, I don't have a lot of time to cook. I do like to eat, and eating out is just too expensive for me, and my stomach actually doesn't like it. So I try and do things that will help with time. So I get frozen pie crust shells. And believe it or not, a lot of people have commented on my pies and asked, oh, what kind of crust is this? This is so good. Can you give me the recipe? And I tell them it's frozen. So this is frozen. I'm gonna stick it in the oven right now. Our oven is on. It's been allowed to get a little warm. Usually you will prick the pastry shell, but if it's frozen, it's too hard to prick. So I'm gonna put it in for just a couple of minutes. The crust will soften, and then I'll go with a fork and make little pricks. Cauliflower cheese pie. Really simple, really easy, and it makes for a nice lunch. Once I get the pie in the oven, I'm going to make a nice green salad, a simple green salad to go along with that cauliflower cheese pie. This could be, as I said, a nice lunch, or it could be, you know, a nice light supper. Or if you have a potluck to go to, you can bring the cauliflower cheese pie to the potluck. The other thing is sometimes the store will have a sale, you know, 2 heads for $5, and that's a really good price for cauliflower. So I usually will buy 2, and I'll make 2 pies, one that I will eat during the week, and the other one I will completely bake, let it cool, then I wrap it in aluminum foil and put it in a big baggie and put it in the freezer. And so when you're really, really busy, you can always take it out of the freezer and you have something that you can warm up and have that's homemade. So we're still waiting for our cauliflower. Let's check our pie crust shell and see if we can stick it with a fork just yet. Yeah, it's a little, yes, softened up. So we're just making these marks, also a little on the side as well. If you don't prick the pie crust shell, it'll bubble. It'll make a nice big bubble. And so you want that pie crust shell to remain, let me show you. You want that pie crust shell to remain flat like this so that you can put your ingredients in here. Otherwise, if I hadn't pricked it, then what would happen is you would have bubbles. And that has happened to me before, where I will put the pie crust shell in there and then I'll be busy with the ingredients of the pie and forget, and I'll run over here and you'll see a big bubble. So you just prick it and then it falls down. So let's look at our cauliflower here. Not quite yet. We want it to be soft. At least I do. So we'll wait a little bit longer for that. Okay, so here's an example of it bubbling. So my holes didn't go all the way through, and you see as soon as I do that, see how it goes down? We're going to give it another minute in the oven because we don't want it to burn. And by that time, hopefully, our cauliflower will be ready. Okay, I'm going to check the cauliflower. It's steaming. Lift the lid, and with a knife, a sharp knife, you see how nicely the knife goes through the cauliflower? That means it's done, okay? So I'm going to turn the heat off. Pie crust shell is done. The bottom pie crust shell. So we're going to take that out of the oven, and we're going to put that here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take some of our cheese and we're going to start sprinkling it on the bottom of the pie crust shell. Now, when you look for your frozen pie crust shell, I use Pet Ritz. It comes in regular, and this is a regular, or deep dish. Now, when I was at the supermarket, they didn't have any of the deep dish, so I just got the regular. So we're going to move that over. And now we're going to start taking our cauliflower out of the steamer, and we're going to put it, and it's easy to forget sometimes, but this is really hot. It just came out of the oven. And I have made that mistake in the past, so please don't make that mistake. We'll bring one over closer. And I have this. You want something that's like a ladle that can scoop your cauliflower out, and you're going to place it in the pie crust, right on top of the cheese. Now this too is hot, so please don't touch it with your fingers, otherwise you're going to burn yourself, and that's not fun. You may have noticed I didn't use any spicing, no seasoning. We just steamed this, you know, really simple. I'm not going to, sometimes I think, oh, I'll just add a little salt and pepper, but usually I forget, and that's not a big deal. It's still nice and tasty. But what you could do at this point, once you have all of your cauliflower in the pot, and don't get upset, you can see what happened here. The steamer kind of went to the side, it became lopsided. That's okay, not a big deal, okay? You just want to get your cauliflower out of the steamer, into the pie, and get all of these flowerets out. And we're going to arrange them a little bit, because there are some spaces. So get all of this out. Okay. Clean hands are always good. Always wash your hands before you start. Okay, put that to the side. And now what I'm going to do, it is hot. I'm not spending a lot of time here. Just even it out a little bit. All right? And what you can do is put your salt and pepper on now. I'm not going to put any salt on. I'm just going to add a little pepper. So just sprinkle a little pepper like that. And now I'm going to put the rest of the cheese on top of the cauliflower. And if any of the cheese falls on the aluminum, pick it up because it's going to melt. This is going to go back in the oven. So whatever cheese hits this aluminum, it will burn once it's in the oven. You can see it's beginning to melt a little bit here. So now what you're going to do is the other half, or the other pie crust shell, you're going to take and you're going to turn upside down on the cauliflower. And then you want to bring these two shells, pie crust shells, together. And you can do it with a fork. You can do it this way. And as we pricked the bottom pie crust shell when we had it in the oven, we're going to make some pricks on the top too, and that's to allow the steam to come out. You have to allow the steam to come out, otherwise it's going to explode and it's going to be a mess. So the way I make it, you can do any kind of pricks you want, but I always like to make a happy smiley face. So I make my eyes, I make my nose, and now I make my smile. And it accomplishes two things. You have vents for ventilation to allow the steam to escape, and I just like the thought of a happy smiley face looking back at me. Now you'll notice that I have these little bits of aluminum foil. This is to protect the crust, because if I put this pie in the oven without any protection, the crust is going to end up burning. The rest of the pie won't burn, but the crust will. So to protect it, I put these little bits of aluminum foil on the crust. And usually 3 will do. This is left over from another pie I made a few weeks ago. no need to waste and throw it away, especially since I know I'll be making another pie. I overlap them a little bit. Okay, we're good to go. I'm going to put this back in the oven. I'm going to set the timer for 15 minutes. 15 minutes, and then we're going to take our little strips of aluminum foil off, and then it'll bake for another 15 minutes. Okay, so first I'm going to make a single salad. This is if you're having, lunch or dinner by yourself and you don't want to go through the bother of making a really big salad. So I put a couple of leaves in here. Now I'm going to rinse them. And squeeze. If you have a spinner, a salad spinner, that works too. With your hands, I never cut lettuce. Always pull it apart with your hands. Can't remember the reason. There's a good reason for it, but I can't remember at this time. And the color looks nice, the red and green of the lettuce. And just cover the bottom of the plate. Okay. Now I have this English cucumber. It was on sale, 2 for $4. That's a good price. And I'm going to peel it, and I'm going to slice the whole thing, because even if I don't use the whole cucumber for this one salad, I will use it for other things. And to slice a cucumber, especially a cucumber that size, I like to use a mandolin. And I just place the mandolin over the bowl. What I do is I trim the end of the cucumber. I put that there. And be careful with a mandolin. You never want your hand to get too close to this blade. I know someone who used this and ended up cutting themselves because they weren't paying attention. So it goes by very quickly. You can adjust the thickness. This is the slice. I like that thickness, so I'm going with that. But you can have it thinner if you want. So very quickly, moving your hand as the cucumber gets slower and smaller, because again, you really don't want to cut yourself. That's the last thing you want. And as we get small, you can see I'm going slower, because, and then when I see it, it's like this. I put that there. I have my cucumbers, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to decorate with some sliced cucumber. And then I have some grape tomatoes. So I put a few in here. I rinse. I bring it over here. My trusty paper towel. Pat dry. I'm going to get a serrated edge knife, because with tomatoes you always want to cut with serrated edge knife. It makes it easier. So I cut in half, and I'm just going to place, you can place wherever you want. You can make it as pretty or artistic as you like. And then what I like is to put an orange or mandarin or a tangerine. You may not be used to it, but it has a really nice, refreshing flavor. And I think that should do it for this salad. Dressing, what kind of dressing do I like or do I use? I happen to love lemon. So I think all of my salad dressings are basically lemon. The only exception is if I use vinegar. So let me get the lemon, olive oil, salt and pepper. Real simple. You can make it in a little container and shake it up. I just always make it fresh. I always like to start with olive oil and end with the salt and pepper. So I take my olive oil and I sprinkle just a little over it. Okay, that should do. Then here I have, and this is a perfect for one, salad. This is perfect. So then I just squeeze that lemon over the, and if some of the pulp falls off, I don't mind because again, I really like lemon. A little salt and a little pepper. I don't like too much pepper. Some people like more pepper and that's fine. So that is for one person. It's pretty, it's refreshing, and it's a very nice accompaniment to your cauliflower cheese pie. Now what if you say, oh, but I'm going to do it for a party. I think I'll have some friends over for lunch or a brunch and I want to make the whole salad. You can do that and I'm going to show you right now. So you just take out a bigger bowl. I have this glass bowl. I like glass bowls for salad because you can see all the colors. And then what you'll do is, the timer. Let's check our cauliflower cheese pie first. Okay, now look at this. See, it's coming along very nicely. We're going to remove these strips of aluminum foil that were around the crust. And then we're going to let it stay in the oven for another 15 minutes. Okay, before we forget, let's set the timer, because that's the worst thing for something to burn after you've spent time preparing. Even if it hasn't been a lot of time, you still, don't want to waste whatever time you put into it. So here we have our lettuce, our head of lettuce, and we're going to take it apart, from the stem. Just put it here in your colander. My trusty paper towel. I know I'm going to use a lot of paper towel. People don't complain about it. This is just my method. I don't have a salad spinner. Maybe I should get one, but until I do, this is what I use. So don't ever feel if you don't have all the right equipment, because you can always make do with what you have, okay? As you can see, I don't have a salad spinner, but that doesn't stop me from rinsing my salad, cleaning it, and then drying it. You always want to dry your lettuce. And then again, use your hands, just break it up. For a big salad like this, I would not cut the grape tomatoes or cherry tomatoes, whatever kind of tomatoes little tomatoes you're using. I'm going to use the rest, again, always rinsing. You always want to rinse your produce. Now when you get tomatoes, whether it's a big tomato, a grape tomato, whatever kind of tomato it is, you never want to refrigerate your tomatoes, okay? And then we continue. And you kind of build your salad, and you don't have all lettuce and then all vegetable stuff on top. You're kind of mixing it so that no matter what spoonful you get, you'll have something besides lettuce. This will be the top. If we had more lettuce, we could fill it up a little higher. We could have another layer, but this is going to be the top, and you can decorate it any way you want. I'm just doing it this way. This is what I want to do, what I like to do. too bad you're not here because peeling smells so nice. It just gives a very fragrant smell. You might be wondering about a salad dressing for this. I wouldn't dress it until I actually was going to use it. And with any recipe, you can choose to omit, to add, to alter. That's the fun of cooking, I think, creating your own combinations. So let's just top this off with a few more slices of the mandarin. Voila! A nice salad, nice light salad to accompany your cauliflower cheese pie. Now, I'm not having company, and your company might not be coming just yet. I mean, this is something that you can make ahead of time. You can make this a few hours ahead. I'm going to cover it with saran wrap and put it in the refrigerator so that when I do want to use it, all I have to do is take it out. You want to make sure that it's completely covered. You don't want, the air to get to it because then it won't stay as fresh. Last section here to ensure that it does stay fresh. So now we're ready to put this again in the refrigerator, and I think that looks really pretty. There's the dinger. That means that our pie is probably ready, so let's go to the oven and check it out. Okay. Now you see, it's lightly brown. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave it on top. Let's close this. Turn the oven off. And let it cool for a few minutes. We've allowed 15-20 minutes to go by to let the cauliflower cheese pie cool down. I'm going to move it over with the pot holders because, again, you don't want to burn yourself. Put it closer to the counter, get my little plate. Now this is the tricky part, at least for me, is cutting and making the first cut into the pie. So I'm going to warn you right now, at least for me, the first slice is going to be kind of messy. But hey, it's how it tastes that counts. Our happy smiley face, one of the eyes opened up. You can see a little more of the smile. The other eye kind of closed. Maybe it's winking at us. Okay, let's see. How did this turn out? So make the first cut, and the second cut, and let's see if we can do it just with this. Bring it over, and it's still hot. I don't know if you can see the steam is still coming up, and we left some of the crust here. You can always get it with your utensil. Okay. I didn't do such a bad job as I thought I was going to, so that's good. And we have our cauliflower cheese pie and nice, fresh, light, refreshing green salad to go with it. Bon appetit! Okay. Cheese. I like the cheese. It really makes it with the cauliflower. I'm sorry. It's sensational.